Hello, everyone of the EOS, EdenOnEOS, EdenOS communities amalgamation. We are back again for our bi-weekly update with Brandon Fancher, team lead at Clarion, who's been kind of holding down the development progress of EdenOS and about to give us the latest. So, how you doing today, Brandon?
Man, I'm doing well. I can't complain. Doing really good. We're having fun. We're building. That's what it's about. And thanks
Awesome.
to you, man, for hosting today and for your continued support of our team as we're slogging through all of this.
Absolutely, got to shine a light on the work that you guys are doing in the dungeons of code that you have to.
Beautiful dungeons. Okay.
Beautiful dungeons of code.
Yes.
Toiling away. Well, maybe they're not dungeons, but workshops. I don't know. It's hard to. We need a more colorful way to visualize coders besides just sitting at computers, because that's just not very exciting.
We're so gloomy today in our choice of words. I feel happy. I'm like slogging. We're not slogging. We're dancing. We're dancing, right? And we're not in a dungeon. We're in like ball. Santa's workshop or the
That's
ball.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So we've got to get this messaging right.
Let's do this again. Good morning. I'm joined with Brandon Fancher of the Clarion team, who's with his merry band of elves and other elemental beings are working on this bright and shiny transformative object known as EdenOS to help us bring joy and mirth into society consensually. Brandon, how's it going today?
Well, guys, Santa Claus is coming to town.
Yes. All right.
We have a date for the first Eden election. Now, hold on while I choke. Excuse me. We have a date. Don't get too excited, because first of all, I lost you on my screen. Let me go to the right screen. Secondly,
he got so excited.
I'm perplexed.
Yeah.
Yes. No. We do have a date, and we are working on an announcement today. We're going to get that announcement together with Dan into Dan's hands, and I believe probably this week. I would guess sooner rather than later. We'll be seeing that date flying around shortly for the first on-chain Eden election using EdenOS.
All right. I like it. On-chain election using EdenOS. Let that sink in for a moment, everybody. A hush falls across the crowd. Very cool. And the date is to be yet revealed.
Yeah. So I guess this is an announcement of an announcement. Is that how we roll in crypto land? Look at this. I'm succumbing to the announcement of the announcement thing.
Hey, at least it's not like an announcement of an announcement of an announcement. So
that's true. That makes me feel better. Thank you, Brandon. Oh, what is this?
Santa bring me hyper Bitcoinization for Christmas this year.
Amen. Yes.
With some EOS sprinkled on top.
Please. Guess we'll see if we've been naughty or nice. I don't know.
And then this from Moneyman. Hurry up, guys. The globalists are closing in on all of us.
Speaking of the globalists and closing in.
Perfect segue.
Yeah, perfect segue. I also want to say, last week I said Clarion doesn't exist. We haven't written any code for it. Well, since then, code It's like pen to paper, except virtual pen to paper. Code is flying, my friends. It's experimental, but stuff's getting real, okay? I'll just put it that way. Stuff's getting real. I can't really speak to the product roadmap or vision yet for Clarion because I am hyper-focused on hyper-Edenization here. But we are, and then Stephen is working on the protocols that will underpin a lot of the kind of peer-to-peer communications that we're looking at for Clarion OS. So that's good news. And yes, we're racing the clock of tyranny here. We'll see.
So that's a group telepathy sort of app, right? That you're working on.
Well,
just thoughts beamed.
I'm
sorry.
That was a secret, but
sorry about that.
Come on.
So anyway, yeah, we're off to a good start. So yeah, besides the fact that Daniel Keyes wants to remind us that that EOS is full of wizards, which is important, and elves.
And elves, yes. If we're all building, how do you say that? If we're all building, then EOS is well on its way, I think, to changing the world, guys.
We're gonna send mana. Don't worry. It's on the roadmap somewhere.
I need to know that. Hopefully, I'm not betraying my lack of being up to date with culture. What is mana?
Oh, mana, like in many games, is kind of like a. Now I only have partial geek credit on the mana chart, so yeah, but it's like a energy level or something that you can use to perform actions or whatever.
Oh, okay. Is that like out of Exodus, out of the Israelites for 40 days in the desert? And God sent them manna from heaven.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
Which we could get really deep into if you want. That gets pretty weird really fast. We start talking about life. Joshua Seymour says it's life force energy.
Love it.
Oh, and then further clarification: wizards need mana to perform spells.
Okay. EOS power up. That's what it reminds me of. Let's all power up and build. We'll do some incantations here.
EOS has lots of wizards lacking mana. Well,
I think it's coming.
Make it rain. Win mana token. Okay, Lenny, great news. Hopefully first election announcement will be presented in many forms and shapes for the onward sharing around the good news in even more ways. Absolutely.
Love it.
All right, well, I got this big blue rectangle staring me in the face.
Let's do it.
EdenOS. Yeah, bring it on.
Cool. All right, so just to recap, and we say this every 2 weeks here, right? What do? We're showing off progress from the last 2 weeks, discussing what we're working on next, discussing any updates to our roadmap, and of course, answering your questions. And the disclaimer, right? Another big blue screen here is we don't have a magic crystal ball. We're working on it. We're wizards. I mean, I guess we need one. We don't have a magic crystal ball, so right, anything that we are projecting into the future is subject to change. We're giving it our best intent and our best informed estimation of what and when, but take everything that we project here with just that grain of salt. And guys, if you want more information after this call, if we leave you feeling not quite sated, of course, EdenOS.org. I think we got the EdenOnEOS.com domain name too. I looked at that yesterday, so you might want to type it in and check it out, but that goes there too. EdenOnEOS.com, I think. So go check that out. You'll see there More Equal Animals, the book by Dan Larimer. If you haven't read that, please read it. You want to read that. It's good. It's an easy read. It's engaging. And after you read it, buy a bunch of copies, give it to your friends. You can also download the PDF for free online. There are ebooks. There's even an audio book version of it that the community put together floating around somewhere. Get into More Equal Animals. And on that note, Lovejoy, what are you guys doing? What is it, weekly or bi-weekly with More Equal Animals?
Every Friday, we're getting together and taking it about 20 pages at a time in an attempt to kind of distill the core concepts from this book into, it's kind of like a TLDR. So I kind of envision sort of like a hyper-linked document coming out of it that's very short and sweet, but references the material in the book, and we can expand from there. So yeah, just trying to make it a little more digestible. So if people are intimidated by the book, they can kind of get it at a glance and then decide to go deeper.
Is that a live stream?
Yeah, we're doing it live and just embarrassing ourselves in real time for everybody's amusement and edification, hopefully. And yeah, every Friday, I guess that's, I've stopped. Somebody highlighted, was this you last week or a week before? I guess it was Mike teasing me for saying the time in UTC, but that's what I know it as now, 1300 UTC. I'm sorry, I can't translate it into the many local time zones, but that's what it is.
1300 UTC will be 9 a.m. EDT.
There you go.
In Central, 8 West Coast. I've been dealing with election dates and time zones, so it's front of mind for me right now.
But yeah, Fridays 1300, 9 a.m. Eastern, 8 Central, and so forth. And yeah, tune in. And shoot us comments and questions in the chat if you want to. It's on the EOS community calendar, which I guess maybe we should. It's probably in the link description, but there you go.
Okay, cool. Yep, so EdenOnEOS.com, EdenOS.org, check it out. More information in our public Eden Wiki, wiki.eoscommunity.org. And our Eden GitHub. Eden GitHub is the freshest, guys. You're seeing stuff happen in real time there. You can go to our projects tab in that GitHub repository and see our backlogs and our tasks flying around and their status and issues and PRs as they're happening. So check it out. And next up, taking a look at our roadmap. Nothing really changed here except for moving the green dot a few pixels to the right here. We are closing in on our V02 elections and funding milestone. And yeah, I mean, we've got that fully functional. We are, adding polish and adding a few of the remaining ancillary features that we want, like the ability to see the global view into elections as they're happening and uploading videos. We have the tech working there and it's working in the UI. We're polishing that up. And yeah, showing off the full treasury balances. But hard stuff is pretty much behind us, right? So we are closing in.
Exciting.
Yeah. V02, elections and funding, zooming in on that deliverable here, that milestone. What will be in this month? 6 month elections. So elections by default are scheduled every 6 months. And V03 will allow us to move those forward under certain circumstances. Opting in and opting out of elections. The randomized grouping of those participants who have opted into election groups. Getting Zoom links directly from our election UI. Voting, video upload, simple funding mechanism, and seeing your representatives after an election, and during an election as it's ongoing, but especially after an election. If you want to know kind of what that looks like, go check out this video from 2 weeks ago, because I did a demo of the ongoing election UI, and much of that is in there. And I'll just keep zooming. I think today will be a little bit shorter than most of our updates. So zooming into that progress here a little bit more, the things that I have edited or modified are highlighted, but we have all our election actions in place in the smart contract. UI designs are stable. None of that's changed, right? Shared UI components in the front end are built. The election UI is hooked up to the contract APIs and exercising the contract actions and tables. Our Zoom API, I had that it was just tested there before, but now it's actually integrated into the ongoing election UI. Encrypted meeting link sharing is implemented now fully in the UI. And now with that one, we are still finishing up. I'll have that probably merged today, some UI flow there, but that's implemented and working. Simple UI implemented for viewing and withdrawing election budgets. So that's there. Once you win an election or become a delegate, you see that you have a balance available, and you can withdraw that balance to your EOS account. And you'll see when the next disbursement happens, because in this model, disbursements are happening monthly to the delegation, right? The elected delegation. And then you can go and withdraw when the next one is available. Ongoing is, we are working on global views, like I said, into ongoing elections and hierarchies. So when you're in an election, you primarily first care about your role in the election, right? Your path to head chiefdom, or who won your round or who's in your round. But, you know, everybody's going to also want to know, inside and outside of Eden, you know, what's happening with the election on a global scale. How many groups are there? Who are the members of those groups? Who has voted for whom? And who's winning, right? And where are they going? So we are creating some UI around that.
What's that? What's that going to look like? I mean, my head just filled with all these really cool ways to visualize that, but I have no concept of.
This piece has been a stretch goal for us. It's been something that we weren't initially thinking that we'd expose in V02. And it's still a bit of a stretch goal for us, but because we just didn't have an easy way to query all this information during an ongoing election. But with Todd's new state derivation stuff that he's been working on, it's becoming a lot easier for us. Initially, we won't have a big focus on UI flashiness for this feature. It could be literally as simple as some JSON being printed out on the screen at first. Sure. But our goal, right, like I talk about, isn't perfection. We want to deliver useful stuff as soon as it's useful to our users, or even a subset of our users. My hope is that it falls somewhere in between highly polished and JSON. So we're not just showing you JSON, but we just show you a list, you know, for round one of everybody and who voted for whom. And then when round two starts, we show you a list of round two groups potentially. But yeah, keep your expectation, you know, lower UI wise with that feature. That's, like I said, it's really only possible for us as of late. It's a stretch goal.
Need more mana.
More mana.
Well, I mean, I grew up with text-based adventure games, so I'm fine with JSON files, but you know,
yeah, we're pretty. You know, right now still a pretty tech-savvy crowd, but look, the primary way of getting this information though is going to be our global, public, ongoing election community Zoom room. So I've said this before, but you'll have Zoom links for your groups. Those Zoom links will be encrypted, so other people can't come Zoom bomb you. But we also envision, and it's built into our UI to a degree, right? We also envision there being that global community Zoom room that you can join, where you may have a panel of people, the hosts who are the ones speaking and curating, and a big audience, and people can raise their hand if they want to ask questions or talk, and the hosts can moderate that. Those hosts will be the ones really kind of announcing and emceeing, right, the results as they're coming in, like the announcers at a football game or whatever. And that would be a nice, either way, hopefully a nice digestible way to keep tabs on the current election progress.
That'd be cool, actually. Do like a little like a running commentary podcast. Somebody kind of just, keeping any other audience that doesn't want to be nose deep into what's going on, just kind of a continuous audio update would be kind of cool.
Yeah. I think things like that are, like I said, we're planning pretty much that with video for our election, the Zoom community room. But I think it's an awesome way to introduce people inside and outside of Eden, and inside and outside of EdenOS for that matter, to what Eden is all about in action, right? Yes, that would be epic.
Keys says we need to get Joe Rogan to commentate. Yeah, that would be something else.
For those listening, if you know Joe Rogan, please reach out.
Yeah, see if he wants to be our announcer for the first live election.
And stepping into the ring is, that would be interesting.
That's funny too, because I messaged everybody today, let's get ready to rumble. So there's kind of a good theme going on. All right.
So dark and violent, I guess, is our
but also whimsical and fantasy based and
what magical. Is this dualism? Okay, All right.
The yin yang is with us.
Yep. Yeah, so we are working on that. We're adding polish and testing, and working on, like I said, our first on-chain election date is chosen, and an announcement is coming shortly. Stay tuned. All right. You guys have seen this slide too, but V03, early elections, right? This is what's coming next. Not this deliverable, but the next deliverable. Early elections, annual dues collection, detailed accounting of community representative and individual member funds, the flow of funds, right? Like ledgers. An enhanced view into current and past election results. Transferring funds internally. And possibly a tariff on funds withdrawn outside of the Eden community to encourage people to look inside first, right? That tariff goes back into the community treasury, it gets redistributed to delegates. So it's, it's for the community, by the community. And then, I don't know if V03, we have our election NFTs or inline chat at this point. But we are still, grappling with that and working to justify some of those decisions. All right. Another big blue screen.
I'm going to give you like an ocean background there for that. I think it'd be nice. Waves.
Yeah, we need to iterate a little bit on our slide deck here.
I like it.
So for discussion, I've got a few points. You guys feel free to throw some questions out there, but a lot is happening today. As I said, I think is a shorter update. We have been working really, really hard in the background. Not that this is a good indication of real progress, but it's interesting nonetheless. We had 32 PRs merged since last 2 weeks update. 5 additional PRs have been opened. And so we are slinging a lot of code and getting a lot ready for this. Like I said, first election's coming up, and we will be announcing that date, which we've already selected here shortly. We are also working on a test strategy. So before that date, we want to have some extensive testing, more so internally and more so inviting community members to help us run some of these on-chain tests, right? EdenOS-driven election tests. So we'll likely have more announcements around that as well. I also mentioned, right, the solution that Todd has been working on for the, what did I call it here? The blocks to browser state derivation technology. We haven't really come up with a name for this yet, but blocks to browser state derivation technology. Still very much in active development, very exciting progress there. And like I said, the bonus is that we're hoping to have a very light UI for the global view into an ongoing election that relies on this. So yeah, I mean, there's probably 4 updates back with Mike Manfredi and Todd Fleming. There is a demo of that technology and more discussion around it. And guys, if you're interested, go check it out. It's, it's early, but it could be a new paradigm for dApps, potentially. So also, I haven't been able to justify, we've been wanting to get to working on our overall layout and UI in the app and polishing that more. We've very much been getting, prioritizing features and functionality over the finesse, right? And prioritizing all that over perfection. But we have had this concept for a while of more of like a Twitter-inspired sidebar, side nav for navigation, and then it collapses, and you have, when it collapses to mobile view, a mobile tabbed navigation, stuff like that. And haven't been able to prioritize it, during the normal course of things, but this weekend I was really interested, and so I put that together. There's a draft PR open that's almost ready to merge. So bonus, we might have a new UI layout coming soon for this too. Ooh. And if that's ready, we might ship that even before we get this election stuff, exposed. We have a lot of election stuff ready to expose, but we can't really use it until we're ready to actually, open this thing to participation. So, which is coming very, very, very soon.
Very soon. TM.
Yeah. Yes. TM.
Well, I think y'all are delivering at a pace that is, in the light of day, out in the open, in a way that will never deserve the soon TM designation. So that's good.
Cool.
Did you have any? Okay. So for discussion, do you have any prompts for the audience? Does the audience have any burning questions for Brandon now that you've heard all those wonderful updates? Or are we going to go back to talking about Mana and Daniel Keys suggesting we just need to build Rick's portal gun, which I'm down. We need access to parallel dimensions. Fun. Is that on the roadmap?
We'll consider it. It hadn't been on my radar before, but we'll have to prioritize that as part of it. We'll see. Soon, TM.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you were kind of anticipating maybe short and sweet today. I think we have an audience that is just waiting with bated breath for the announcement of what day elections will be and what this puppy's gonna look like when it's live. So we're all really excited to try it out.
Awesome. Great.
Ami does have a question. will the app help the community keep in touch between the delegates and the voters in an ongoing way between the elections? Inter-election.
The only thing it really does for that is there's a My Delegates page that shows you who your first level delegate is after you, and then on down the chain up to the head chief, right, and the chief delegates. We've structured that specifically in a way, this has been a lot of our discussion on that page, in such a way that this becomes kind of a, who do you reach out to when you have questions about Eden or want to otherwise get involved, right? And it stands to reason that those who are delegates and who are receiving funds from Eden are more vested, right, than those who are just members, and probably have their finger a bit more on the pulse. So it would also stand to reason that they would be a really good person for you to go talk to whenever you want more information and want to get involved more. I don't know if we're making that an official kind of responsibility of a delegate, but it's just kind of a sensible thing. So in that regard, I think yes. However, we don't have any tools beyond that for involvement, for stoking or promoting community discussion or involvement. Now in V03, we are going to be bringing about more in-UI transparency and accountability with regard to the flow of funds, right, including delegate funds. And I think that can also help to promote a healthy conversation around delegates and how they're upholding their, you see a transaction happen and you naturally might want to ask questions about it, right? I think it's going to promote good conversation as well. So yeah, we're getting there. But I don't know, maybe not in the ways that question was geared towards, I don't know.
I thought that was a fair answer, but yeah. I guess we'll have to find out, I think this is one of those areas where we'll notice, hey, there's a need for members to keep up with delegates in some particular way that's not being met via the app, and then you guys will probably decide whether or not that's something you can integrate and keep it kind of agile and responsive. By the way, we got to be careful what we bring up, because now the headlines are already saying Clarion team considering building Rick's portal gun. Words out.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I let the narrative.
That got away from us, didn't it?
That's my bad. Eric says, love to hear more about tariffs. Interesting idea.
Yeah. So, we are building a really, I think, robust, dedicated, talented team of community members in Eden with a proven track record, and people who have all sorts of gifts, talents, experience to offer each other when we are developing and creating and building or biddling, or however you say that, right? in Eden and in EOS. And it would be a shame for us to, go hire some Bitcoin maximalist. Not just joking, but it would be a shame for us to, nothing against Bitcoin maximalists. It'd be a shame for us to not find those people first in our community. And so, yeah, the idea of a tariff, right? As we know, elections will result in funds being dispersed to delegates for use as they see fit, and hopefully according to the commitments they've made as a candidate running in the election, right? And those funds have to be spent some way. And so initially in V02, those funds are going to be made available to delegates to directly just withdraw to their EOS account to use how they need to use them. In V03, though, we anticipate those funds being sent directly within the Eden contract to other members, made available to them. And that flow of funds would be unencumbered by tariffs. It would, 100% of your sending of EOS to, Aaron at Gray Mass within the contract, 100% gets there, right? But whenever you want to go spend, 1,000 EOS outside of the Eden contract, which people will have to do. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not a stigma or a negative thing. You've got to do it, right? But it might be subject to, say, a 5% excise tariff, if I'm using that terminology correctly. I'm not an economist. Wherein, right, instead of 1,000 EOS going out of the contract, 950 EOS go out of the contract. 50 EOS go back into the treasury. And those funds then are a part of the pool that gets distributed to delegates the next month and the next month, right? So yeah, the tariff it's just an incentive to buy local, spend local.
Yeah, and hopefully the money in some sense, in some way, shape, or form could be used to remove barriers to hiring locally, if such barriers exist. So, job board development or whatever is keeping people from being able to access talent within the membership.
Yeah, and remember, this is all inspired and underpinned by the philosophy laid out in More Equal Animals, Dan's book. It's about ensuring, maintaining, and protecting the independence of our community, right?
Mm-hmm.
So learn more about that. Read More Equal Animals.
We'll also encourage adding good members.
That's a really good point. Yeah.
Joshua says, what does the Clarion team think of the new EOS Foundation, and what would you like to see happening as a result of that development?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, Dan has thrown his support behind Eve. I personally think it's a very positive development. I think it's going to result in more alignment of communication. I see that there's accountability built into it, and I think it's only going to help us get stuff done, right, in EOS. Flash that question up one more time if you would, Brandon. Yeah, what would we like to see happening as a result of that development? Well, I mean, we're about to have elections. We'd like to see, the EOS Foundation funding Eden, and I believe that's, as I've heard, as I've read, right, that is under consideration for sure. So, yeah, I mean, that's really high level, but I hope it answers the question. I think it's good and encouraging, and we're seeing things happen, right, in EOS.
Definitely.
And I don't think that there's any reason that Eden has to be the only way that stuff gets funded in EOS. We all, benefit from positive, powerful things being done with EOS, inside and outside of EOS.
Absolutely. Get that down. All right. I think that is, unless anyone else has any final burning questions for Brandon while we've got him, just remember you're keeping him away from Santa's magic coding workshop. So it's on you if your question isn't up to par. The elves will know.
Yeah.
You'll be judged accordingly.
Well, naughty or nice? Isn't there a list for this?
Yeah, it's on the blockchain. Santa's been. That's the story for this winter time. Is Santa's considering EOS blockchain to keep his list straight because it's just getting too.
Well, and you know what's often right there next to Santa in all those pictures of his sleigh going through the sky.
The moon.
The moon.
The moon. I think you're onto something. Yeah. This is Santa. The Santa market is coming. Santa market is coming to town. Well, we'll see. With great.
We should outro with Christmas music, man.
I wish I know. Seriously. I'll see what I can do. I don't think I'll be able to pull that together. Great work, Wizards. Thank you for your time and mana-rich contributions, gentlemen. And Josh.
Thank you all for your contributions, support, and the amazing things you guys are doing in the Eden and the EOS communities. Thank you, Eric.
Refreshing info. May you and the team have the strength of water.
It's amazing.
Thank you. Be like water, my friend.
I love that.
Yeah. Well, all right. Thank you so much for your for your consistency, for being here every other week with 5 or 6 weeks or 5 and I don't know. We're looking at our 5th episode now, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
But we've been jamming.
Yeah,
time just keeps flying by.
Indeed.
Absolutely. Thanks for everyone that shows up and spread the word so that we can keep more questions coming in, and we got to keep Brandon trying to come up with these answers on the fly. I like watching him cogitate on how to address these questions of yours. So
well, hey everybody, I was just gonna say it's a pleasure running with you guys. So
yeah,
thank you all.
Likewise. I think I can speak on behalf of many in the community that we really appreciate the work that the Clarion team is doing. And I'm glad we can do stuff like this to highlight the work that's going on behind the scenes a little bit. So something we've been sorely lacking for all these years. But here we are. All right. Well, thanks again, Brandon, and thanks everyone for the questions. And join us next week. It'll be Mike Manfredi to get down into the nitty-gritty in terms of the concepts of fractal democracy. So that's next Tuesday, and then before that, this Friday morning, 1300 UTC, 9 a.m. EDT, is the next deep dive into more equal animals. So keep an eye out for that link. Should be on the community calendar already, actually. So if you go to the community calendar on Notion, you'll see a link to that. And other than that, I bid you all a wonderful day, and see you in 2 weeks, Brandon.
See you guys. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.